back to the Business Brain Dump. I'm Jamie from Auto Enhance.
And I'm Andrea from Coughtry Enterprises. And I think we did a little fireside chat before this one. And
We've recorded if we had recorded, we'd done like half an hour chat before this even started.
Yeah. So we're totally in the groove, but we had so many good topics to talk about that it was actually really hard to choose what to talk about. And I want to say to the listeners really quick, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, know that you can also watch these on YouTube. So you can see our reactions, engage with us, but we value your feedback. So let us know if there's anything you'd like to see us change or any topics you'd like for us to discuss in the future.
Yeah. And follow on Instagram if you're not already. I think that's where we're posting all the shorts. That is the content hub for us.
So it helps you know which episode will be good for you, for sure.
Yeah. And what's coming out as well. I think that's the central place that we're pushing everything out. And we're kind of winging this one, which we haven't done in a while. And we were trying to brainstorm
haven't done that
what topics.
Since the first one.
Yeah, we were so confident that we'd be more prepared and planned. And then we're like, we're back to winging it. So let's see how we go.
I think sometimes we just have so much and this is within the entrepreneurial spirit, right? It's sometimes there are so many eggs in the basket. It's like, all right, which one do we pull? What do we do? And I think sometimes we can have a plan, but what we go through organically in our businesses leading up to the podcast, there are things that we're more passionate about, things that we feel like we have to share with people.
Yeah. And I think from the latest podcast that just came out, we got a lot of reactions from talking about, what was it, Ryan Serhan? Who was the other guy? Santiago?
Yeah, Santiago. I had people call like, oh, we loved your raw authenticity. And it's really just an opinion, but ultimately I just like to be truthful.
People.
Yeah, just talking.
Yeah. And I think on that last podcast, I was talking about how much I'm doing the ice bath, which has definitely gone downhill. I've only done a few in the last month, I'd say. And my problem with it is this whole expectation that it's going to make me more zen or more tranquil. And it hasn't worked. They say that having an ice bath, if you do like a minute in the ice bath, it's like doing a line of cocaine. It really gets you ready for the day.
Have you heard that? No one's ever heard that. I've heard that the ice bath. No, I don't know where that came from, because what I know about an ice bath is that it like burns brown fat. So it helps you burn fat that you can't burn. That's what I did not know. It was like doing.
No, this is the other guys in the gym with me. So it's a bit of a weird setup in my gym. So you've got the changing rooms.
Sounds
and then
like
in the middle, you got the boys' changing room, the girls' changing room.
I don't know what's happening back there.
And then in the middle, you've got the ice bath. And the problem, this is the reason I haven't used it for a while. For a long time, people were coming from the gym and then just going straight in the ice bath, not even showering. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
The water was, it was so horrible.
Yeah. No.
But they fixed that now. This guy there, he keeps telling me, he's like, yeah, just do a minute. Just do a minute in the ice bath. It's like doing a line of cocaine. You're ready to go for the day. I'm like, okay, yeah. And I get in the ice bath. And I'm freezing. It is so painful for a minute. And then I get in the sauna and try and recover. And then he's like, right, you got to go back in again. What? It is not fun. And
who's this guy?
He's a great guy. He's always got some story to tell at the gym. And he's always got these facts. He's like, oh yeah, for every degree in the ice bath, you've got to spend a minute in the ice bath. So I don't know your American Fahrenheits, but like if it's 2 degrees Celsius, you spend 2 minutes in the ice bath. That is the rule that he gives us.
2 lines of Coke. I hear you there. I've never heard that.
Oh, so yeah, I'm not feeling the benefits yet. Yeah, this is kind of related to what we were talking about earlier before we started recording. Yeah. And it's this whole expectation or these people telling you how to manage stress, manage putting your stress into a box was your analogy.
So I am doing a live podcast with my coach today, which this will release at a different date, but he's Discover Oregon Real Estate, Tim Rist. You're going to meet him at Inman next week. He always has these just amazing strategies. And in theory, these strategies are just, yes, that's what I'm going to do. So yesterday he was like, hey, if you've got a really shitty client, a really shitty deal, a really shitty situation, put it in a container and say, hey, I'm only dealing with this between 1 to 2. hey, client, listing agent, buying agent, whatever it is, I'll talk to you tomorrow at 1 or 2. And then you've got, 90% of the rest of your day to go rock it, crush it. And it's like, yeah, in theory, but am I really going to say, this is the biggest deal I've got going on? I'm only available at 1 to 2. No, I'm going to be available at 8 o'clock at night if it takes one, representing my clients efficiently and effectively. I just can't let go. So, is a container a good idea? To me, it's not, because then you're
Mm.
not providing this service and value if I'm not available to my clients. So, the theory of a lot of these ice baths, saunas, containers, say no, say yeah. I mean, everybody's like, you've got to learn how to say no. And everybody's like, say yes more often. It's like, should I say no? Should I say yes? Like, what should I do?
It's
And
so unclear. Yeah, it's
yeah,
this whole ideology that you've got to wake up at 5 a.m., you've got to work out, you've got to journal, and then you've got to do your ice bath or whatever. And actually, we were talking a lot about how we have our routines. And it got
yeah,
me thinking after we did that podcast, and I was really scrutinizing my own routine. And I realized I'm really shit at following my own routine. I have
really,
days, yeah, 100%. I push myself to wake up at 6 o'clock every morning and go and work out. But the reality is some days just got a really busy day and I've got to work till late. Then I can't get to sleep. Waking up at 6 and working out is probably the worst thing I could do.
yeah,
And that led me to this. I don't know if it was a podcast or I just saw this on TikTok. And this guy was like, he was talking about exactly that. He was saying about all these gurus, all these people out there, successful people are telling you about how to maximize your life or how to maximize your
yeah,
routine and how the successful people in the world are doing it. And he was like, the majority of successful people became successful in a very unbalanced time. And I think that's exactly what we experience. And that's what I see with so many other people as well, is actually the people that have to pull those late nights and sometimes have to miss a workout here and there because they've prioritized things. Those are the ones succeeding because they know what they need to focus on.
yeah,
They are trying to get into as much of a routine as possible. Like for me, if I miss a 6 a.m. And miss a workout, I'll make sure that tonight I will sleep earlier and I'll go to the gym. And I think you were saying that last time, how, if you miss a workout during the week, you're going to make up for it the weekends.
yeah,
And I think it do need to have that routine, but you have to embrace the unbalanced part of life if you want to succeed, right? Because there are going to be, for you, like clients that call you at the middle of the night or whatever. And for me, if something breaks in our system, I'm going to stay here in the office until it's fixed,
yeah,
because I know that I should try and get to sleep by 10 p.m. But some days I can't do that because
yeah.
there's other things that are higher priority.
Well, I've got a perfect one for you. This one, I said it the other day and didn't even realize it. So, Brendan's been, my husband, if for those of you who don't know, has been going down this crazy health journey. This guy went from,
There's
he doesn't
Brian
go to the gym.
Johnson.
Yeah. So he doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't, like, he's the type of guy, it's like, let's drink some red wine and watch TV and eat popcorn. I was like, oh my God, you're always throwing me off my routine. Now I miss it, but that's fine. So we did dry June. We have the full blueprint supplement stack. We're doing the nutty pudding, the super veg. He's waking up at 5 a.m. to work out. So he is like killing it. So it's caused me to push. And to be honest with you, it's probably the worst thing for my amount of stress right now. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, feel this mental pressure now, like, oh, if I don't eat those same foods, or if I'm not on his same schedule, or if I miss a workout, or it's a lot of extra pressure on me that I really don't need right now, but that's life. The other day he was comparing something and talking about these lab tests, because we're doing like all these omega lab tests and stuff, getting baselines. Like, he's really into this.
So what, are you
And
drawing blood or something?
yeah, to get our
Crikey.
omega levels. So, okay, we're in the house. I had like just this really long, hard day. He was saying something about Brian Johnson. I'm like, all right, you ready for this?
I'm
Have
going to
you
tear Brian
seen,
Johnson's head off.
I'm like, I'm taking you down. Have you seen Brian Johnson's before blueprint posts? Like the Brian Johnson that
When he was
created,
younger.
that founded Venmo, not when he was younger. Have you seen what Brian Johnson, Google it if you haven't.
No,
Google
but I've
Brian
seen him
Johnson.
now.
Yeah.
It doesn't look healthy to me.
Really?
He,
Well, but here's the point. I've got to get to this because this was the big lead up. So, Brian Johnson, when he was founding Venmo, when he was creating his multi-billion-dollar company, looked like rough, like very
yeah,
rough. Go look. He was overweight, he was bloated, his face was pudgy. He definitely was not getting optimized sleep. He definitely, like, none of that. So, what I
yeah,
told Brendan is what I need you to realize, you are working really hard. You are pushing yourself to get up earlier and earlier and earlier. You will not eat anything outside of this plan. Like, I'm so proud of you. I want you to stick with it, but you have to give yourself grace. Brian Johnson, that founded and created Venmo, and Brendan's in a competitive environment with private practice medical. That Brian Johnson does not look like the post-sell Brian
yeah.
Johnson who has
A
billions of
lot of
dollars.
spare time.
Guess what his job is now? He went
He's
from his
promoting
Venmo
his,
addiction to, yes.
yeah,
So now his body is the billboard. And we talked
yeah,
about this earlier. Are entrepreneurs anything more than salesmen? He is selling his lifestyle. He is
yeah,
selling his product. So now, when you don't have a choice to, stay late at the office or get to the office early or pull an extra meeting or network all weekend, now he can't afford not to hit the workout, do the lab results, go get the skin treatment. This is literally his business now.
yeah.
And I think
That's the sales pitch.
we forget that as consumers of these fitness gurus, of these. Ben Greenfield's another one that I love. It is literally the man's job and livelihood to put this content to you, to feed this to you, and to make your life better. I love those guys. I follow what they say, but you have to give yourself grace. You're building a company. Their company is what you're consuming.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that about Brian Johnson when he was building. Was it Venmo? Was that his company? Is that
Yes.
the
Yeah.
payment app?
Yes.
Venmo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
But
was
think
like
about
8
Elon
or
Musk.
12 billion dollars.
Yeah, but have you seen those pictures of Elon Musk? Like the phases of Elon Musk through building his businesses. And there's
Yeah.
this clip of him when he gets his McLaren F1. So he's just sold his company to, I think it was eBay, when he sold PayPal, and his hairline's gone. And he's like 31 or something like that when he sold the company. And he looks 45, 50, which is hilarious
Yeah.
because similar for me. He then like goes through this health kick. Obviously, he's got billions of dollars and he's spending that to be healthy. And
Yeah.
then he starts Tesla, and then he starts SpaceX, and then you see this guy that's reasonable weight, and then he gets to a point with Tesla where it hits crisis mode, and that guy is not looking healthy
He's
because
eating
he's
pizza,
sleeping.
sleeping on the
Yeah,
floor,
eating
like, yeah.
pizza, sleeping in the factory. He is doing whatever it takes to build the business. And it is that relentless ability. He's prioritized his life. He knows
Yeah.
that he's going to take a hit on his health because he wants to achieve this business. And I think that is a lot of business. There's a lot of sacrifice that you've got to make, but ultimately you've just got to get your mindset in the right place. And I think
Yeah.
by trying to be in a good place, like trying to have a bit of routine that gets dented here and there, but you can recover from it is really important. But yeah, even for me, I had to like reassess what I'm doing on a weekly basis because I was doing, 4 workouts and 2 runs at the weekend. It's hard to really fit all of that in and then also run the business. I was also doing 2 Mandarin classes a week as well.
Wow.
And I just got to a point where I was like, I had to stop everything. And for me, I'm not the kind of subtle person who slowly ramps things down. I just stop everything at the same time, reassess, and then work out what I'm actually capable of doing.
What are the top priorities? Well, I think too, if
Exactly.
you look at your life and you balance your physical and mental stress, well, when you are, it may not feel physical, but when you are working in and on a business, and some businesses are literally physical, but you have so much mental and physical stress that goes into your day to day job function as an entrepreneur that if you've got a lot more mental stress, you might need to not be upping the physical stress. And in that is,
You
all of these routines.
You kept well, I was actually listening to the podcast. I'm that self-indulgent that I
Yeah.
listened to the podcast when I was at the gym, and I'm like pushing myself to the max. And you're talking about how you started to not push yourself as much because of the stress of work. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
if I push myself physically and mentally, then it's too much. And
Yeah.
I was like going, oh, you're so right. when I'm
And you're
pushing
like,
myself. And then
I love it.
I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just too self-indulgent. Like I hate the idea of not pushing myself to the max. I still can't justify to myself that I should bring it back a little bit, but maybe as I get older, maybe that will change. Let's see.
Well, I agree and disagree with the statement because there is something to be said. Joe Rogan said this on his podcast, and he said, I really mean this and feel this. And when I mean I'm not going as hard, like I was doing, weights and stuff 5 days a week. My body felt worn down. I didn't have the time commitment involved in that strenuous of activity. My body was inflamed. I didn't look as good. I didn't feel as good. Like, I mean, that. But if you're doing it and you feel good, keep pushing, keep pushing. But, Joe Rogan said, I'm a very stressed person. I've got a lot going on in my life. I work in, high stress environment, and which I don't believe because he always looks high and relaxed, but fine.
That's
So
his
he
coping
said,
mechanism.
yeah. So he said that the workouts he does are so strenuous and so hard that the rest of his day is easy, no matter what happens. So there's
Mm,
something to be said for that. I can handle my day and my stress load so much better if I've had a good workout in the morning. But I think I was just doing it too much, and then when my
interesting.
mental stress took a hit and my physical stress was taking a hit, it was just a crash. Just
Implosion. Yeah.
yeah. But I do believe if you are in a good groove with it, keep pushing.
Yeah, but I think the ultimate message from that is embrace the unbalanced
Listen
nature
to
of
your
it.
body.
Yeah, yeah.
Trust
And
your own mind.
I
Yeah.
guess the other thing, well, the other person we were bashing on the previous podcast was Ryan Serhan. Have you
Yes.
seen Owning Manhattan?
No, have you?
Yeah, that show is so stressful. It's
Is it?
incredible. Yeah, I'm watching that show and I'm like, I can just see what Ryan is going through in the show. I love how authentic it is. So look,
Yeah.
we were bashing him last time, but I respect the guy. I think he's a brilliant business owner,
Yeah.
brilliant TV personality. And that show, it actually gave me more of an insight into your business. It made me think, wow, this is what Andrea is going through day to day in the American real estate market. And it is
I will watch an
crazy.
episode before the
Yeah.
next podcast. I will. And
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
never
think,
seen things like that. Selling Sunset. We've got one in the UK as well. I think there's one based in Florida, but this one just felt more real because I believe a lot of the other ones they like get an Airbnb and pretend that they're selling the Airbnb, and it's very fake. Whereas
yeah,
this one, you can actually go onto, I don't know if it's Zillow, where you can see when properties were sold, and
yeah,
you can see that Sirhan has sold this
sold those.
property.
Yeah,
The prices are not the same as what they say in the show, but you still at least know that there is some reality to
yeah.
what's going on.
Oh,
Um,
he is a master. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard him speak or anything, but normally they would do have presence at Inman, which we can talk about because we were both gearing up to head to Vegas. But
yeah,
he's a master, like of marketing, of selling himself, selling Manhattan, and I just think that our point is put the authenticity out there. That hey, upcoming agents or current agents, you need to be like, I do this and then I crash and I take a month-long vacation and go to Dubai with my family, right? It's like I
mm,
withhold the schedule as much as I can, and then sometimes I sleep till noon. Like, I mean, there has to be, they're not robots. Should we
yeah. So
talk about Inman?
we can talk about him, man. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
what were we talking? A week and
Yes. So
3 days,
not
and Inman
today.
starts.
Today's Friday.
Yeah.
So
Can you
next
believe a year
Friday.
ago I didn't even know who you were?
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Is it not? I feel like I've known you for my whole life.
I feel like I've known you too long now. This is
No, no. I'm annoyed. I don't want to see you anymore.
exactly. We'll show up at Inman. We'll just wave in the distance and not talk to each
Yeah.
other. I
Yeah.
think that's how we'll do
That's
it.
hilarious. Yeah.
It's
I
gonna be
I
great
like that.
fun. I
I'm
I
so
was
excited.
I only found out about Inman about a week no, not a week, a month before it started last year. I'd heard a little bit about it and then found out it was happening. The timing worked out. And so booked tickets and came out to Inman. It was great. We were at a point where the business was growing rapidly for the past 18 months. The US has been that frontier that we've been trying to get into. And even though we don't sell directly to agents or brokers, there are some that use our software. Knowing what's going on in the industry and knowing the value chain. So at the end of the day, real estate photos are required for the brokers, for the agent. So actually understanding the value chain is really important. So it just felt like a crash course for me in a space of 2.5 days, where I just had so much information flying in, meeting so many people across the industry. For me, it was so valuable, helping with the business.
Yeah. My first Inman, I went alone and I didn't know anyone and I was nervous. It felt weird. It felt uncomfortable. I felt extremely intimidated. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm in a very small market compared to a lot of these other markets. The first guy I met sells real estate in the Hamptons. Nico, you remember him?
Nico's
The
great.
best guy. He's so great. And then you meet these people selling in New York and the Hamptons and Miami, and you're just like, wow, wow. And then you realize they are just like you. They go through the same issues. The price points of where they live are a little higher, but everything else is the same. The same stress, the same motivation, the same client stories. I mean, it's all the same. So it really opened my eyes to be like, some of my systems, processes, and strategies are better than some of those top producers. Some of my strategies need to be leveled up with those top producers. I never am like, I've got it figured out. So I always come in ready to break down any barrier, any wall. And I think you're the same way, and just listen and be open. And it really helped me realize, hey, I've got the same ability, the same capability, the same mindset. We have different markets. That's the only thing separating us. That really helped me grow and push. I can take those same steps. I don't need to be scared. And now when I go, I take it as my ice bath, right? So I've told you I'm in an extremely stressed state right now. I've got a lot of crazy stuff happening. Some just really sour situations, some hard clients, some hard builders, some hard deals. It's just like I'm running through
NFP,
mud.
not for the podcast.
Yeah, not for the podcast. That was pre-podcast.
Yeah.
That's the real dump. But I go to these now, the energy, I can feel it as it's getting close, just the energy. And sidebar, I am going to the big Bitcoin conference in Nashville just before I fly to Vegas. So I'm going to have back-to-back mental mindset
You're going to be
reset.
so tired. I can
I'm
just
going to be
imagine it.
I'm not going to be tired because I'm going to be like on energy crack. Just going to be so, I
Inman's
will
like
give
doing a
you,
line of cocaine. It
yeah,
just
it
gets you
is. Yeah,
going.
every day, just get you going. I think the energy is why I go. And it always pushes me to take a big step, take a big leap. It reduces the barriers between some people who are your idols and what you're doing. And it helps you realize where you need to grow and where you've grown more than you realize. Sometimes it's hard to analyze your own success.
Yeah, I think from hearing from you being in Kentucky compared to London, we were just talking about this before the podcast. I've just been in the countryside where in the UK, it's just very back to basics, like very slow moving. And it's kind of what I escaped from growing up in the countryside. I was like, I cannot feel the energy here. I need to get out if I want to build something, if I want to push myself to the limit. So I enjoy just being in London. I love just having the hustle and bustle. So many people at the top of their game here, pushing themselves, and that's like it in a really condensed environment around real estate at the Inman Conference. And just the organic conversations that you have, the people that you meet, and it's not even, the fact is that we we don't do the same thing, but we're both business
Yeah.
owners, and we've been able to talk about that and share what's working for us, what's not working for us, and all the different business models that people have as well. I just find fascinating. So
Yeah.
Vegas is going to be amazing, and I'm doing the US World Tour. So whilst you're in Nashville for the Bitcoin
Yes.
conference, which sounds amazing, I'm going to be
so
out
excited.
in San Jose, Silicon Valley, and then I'm going to be in Ohio after the conference as well. So hopefully we're going to meet up from that as well. But for me, again, I think maybe I've just got this really distorted view on things. But when I go to conferences, I feel I have to justify going to the conference. So I'm like, okay, I've spent this much going on the conference. I need to get this many deals to cover going to the conference. And I remember like the first conference I went to, 2022, and we'd paid all this money for the conference. And then the whole time I'm pitching, meeting people, talking about my business. And, you know, you become quite annoying because you're the guy there that's trying to sell something to people.
Yeah.
But we managed to get a sale on the last day, and that sale has more than covered the cost of that conference and the conferences after that. And that's always been my thing. And I find it really hard to enjoy the conference fully, because if I'm sat around listening to talks, I'm not networking with people, I'm not engaging, it makes me feel really uncomfortable, which is probably just mentally the wrong way of thinking about it, because there's so much extra value that you get from the conference. But this time it's different because I'm going to San Jose and then I'm going to Ohio. I've already lined up 4 customer meetings, which will more than cover the cost of the whole trip. So anything at Inman is a bonus, and I can just thoroughly enjoy it, which is what I'm hoping to do. The fact that I can go out there and meet with these customers as well is going to be amazing. And just spending time in Silicon Valley, for me as a tech guy,
that's
that
gonna
is
be so energetic.
I love it so much. I haven't been there well, I went there last year, but for work, I haven't been there for a few years now.
Wait, you got
And
a
just
selfie with
Steve Jobs,
Mark Zuckerberg,
family
Steve
home.
Jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a selfie with Mark Zuckerberg. That was in 2017, I believe. How old was I then? I'm 26 now. Let's wind the clock back. So 7 years
Are
ago,
we talking about Brian Johnson's biological age, or are we talking physical age? Like what?
Yeah, I was
What age?
biologically 18, physically 32 back then.
Yeah.
But that was great. I think I was 18 or 19 at the time, and I went to the Facebook conference. And I
That's
remember
amazing.
I didn't realize it till I was there, and I was like, "Oh, I'm underage. I can't drink in America." Whilst I'm sipping on my beer or G&T or something
That's
like that.
hilarious.
They didn't question it. But yes, I like the energy in San Jose, and I'm hoping to have some catch-ups with people who are also building tech companies and just hearing their stress as well. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really good trip. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm really looking forward to it. So we're at our 30-minute mark. So we have to give our roundup, because I love doing a roundup at the end to be like, all right, what do we want you to take away from this? For me, I want to say 100% that your mindset matters mentally, physically. Have a routine that you can come back to, like you mentioned. But what is your number one way that Jamie pulls Jamie out of the mud? Like when you are just in the thick of it, the business isn't going right, you're stressed, you're not sleeping well, your workouts aren't happening, or they're not good when they are, and you're just on the verge. You're like, Jamie is in the mud. Like, what is your real tactic that works for you? And it won't be the same for everybody.
This works for me every time. And that is why I am able to talk in this podcast right now and not feeling the crushing stress right now. And my number one thing that I do is talk to people. I have amazing people around me who will pick up the phone when I call them. I don't know why, but they seem to enjoy hearing what's going on. And I know that if I give them a call, that they're going to pick up. So I always have conversations with my girlfriend, Sarah. Sarah's amazing at just working it out. She has come from a family that moved from China to Australia with nothing and built a business. So she knows all about building businesses, the risks that it takes, the stress that it puts on, the sacrifices that need to be made. So we talk about it a lot, but it's also, you know, your partner is someone where you can just suck the life out of them complaining about everything. So it's a really hard balance. The other people are just, my chairman is amazing, Adrian. I will just
Adrian.
give him a call out of the blue when something is just on my mind and I can't get it off. And either writing it down or talking to him about it, we can work through it. There is never, it's not like the world is going to end tomorrow. And that's what it always feels like when you've got so much going on, that tomorrow you're not going to be able to go past tomorrow. And actually, there is a way forward. You just need to get it out there and talk about it. But other founders, other business people who understand what you're under will pick up the phone. And I've got this really good friend, Frederick, who founded Diacrit, which is one of the largest real estate photography companies in the world. He founded it 20 years ago, built it from nothing and sold it a few years ago. Just the other week, I thought, I'll just give him a call because I reckon he knows what I'm going through. And he always likes to hear about what we're working on. And yeah, he picks up. He's in Sweden, driving to the tennis. And I kind of talked to him about some of the things that we're going through. And he just talks about his own experiences, what he's done. This is it, through your life. If you're trying to build a business, build those connections, build that network. Like even we spoke about it for half an hour before the podcast, like what we're going through. And once you let it out and have someone else kind of see it from the outside view, you can realize that actually it's not as big an issue as you thought it was, and work through it. So my number one advice is do that. But it never feels like that is the way. Like I have these situations where I'm so tired and I feel like I'm going to fall asleep and I can't sleep because I'm thinking about something. That is the worst thing that happens. But once I kind of let it out, work it through, you realize that it's not as bad as you thought it was. So that is my number one advice.
Talk it out. When in doubt, talk it out.
Yeah. What about
My
you?
number one is actually very, very similar. I had this big stressful deal. Yeah. Like, but you have to limit it. You get to like 10 tears. That's it. Anymore, your eyes will be swollen and puffy the next day. But honestly, for me, it's a combination of this deal was killing me and I was just going inward. I was just too stressed to talk about it. I didn't want to catch anybody up on it. And there was so much shit involved in it that I was like, I don't want to rehash it. But sometimes that's what it takes. It takes getting it out. But I've realized for me, I do have a lot of anxiety and stress around deals and my clients. And sometimes that comes first when maybe it shouldn't. And I have to take care of it. I just have to, no matter how big of a monster the deal feels like, I have to get inside of that deal and just deflate it however possible, whether it's fire the clients, bring in a consultant. This deal's not working for everyone. Let's dissolve it, or let's find a way to move forward. But for me, visualization helps so much.
So what, you write it down, or how do you get it out?
And a lot of times it has to be at night for me because I don't have time to myself through the day ever, but I can't meditate. It's not like meditation, but it's almost like third-party visualization. So, I will just close my eyes and think about everything that's good and everything that's great. And remember, like, I don't even know that I get to wake up tomorrow. That sometimes it takes something that morbid to shock you out of whatever you're going through. It's that I'm so blessed. I have my mom, I have my dad, I have my brother, I have my husband, I have my son. And I just went in order of spectrum they came into my life. And it's like they're all healthy and alive and are not wanting for anything. I'm healthy. I'm alive. I'm not wanting for anything. 2 months ago, I was in a boot and couldn't even work out. Like, I just have to start from there and then think about, I'm stressed that I'm interviewing agents who want to join my team, who I'm motivating. I'm stressed that I've got a team of people who need help from me. That stress that keeps me going. And I don't want to de-stress fully because that stress pushes me and energizes me. But I will just deep visualize the basic health and family and wellness and how blessed I am there, period. Take the job away, take the deals away, take it all away. Like, oh my God, that core, what you wouldn't do to protect that. And then just think about all the other positivity. And the last thing I'll end with is, okay, you have this deal, you have this client, you have this even personal fit, whatever it is that's happening, you've got this issue. it's really not. At the end of that, you're like, that is not that big of a deal. Like, it's like whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Is there a way to move forward? Yes or no? What are the options? Put them out there. Let the situation resolve itself and realize at the end of the day, that's all you can do. I think that is where I have to come to when things get overwhelming every time.
So you just break it down.
Yeah.
That's
And it's
crazy.
an
Do you
internal.
feel, yeah, so when you do that, do you feel like, do you come out of that visualization, you're like really refreshed, or does it just immediately come back? How long does
It
it last?
it depends because when I do that normally, like I finally did that earlier this week with some of the stressors I've got. And it was like, you know what? It might be time to let go of some clients. It might be time to shift the way I'm handling those deals. And I felt lighter, even though the deals
Mm,
hadn't changed, the nothing moved different. We were still in the thick of it. But it was like at the end of the day, this could go as my husband's the worst to be like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, tell me the worst thing that could happen. And then you say it, and it's like, it's not that bad. Honestly, still, it's not that
yeah.
bad. But I think that's also surrounded upon what you're saying about having that really great group of people, that core group, because no matter how bad things get, you have them to support you, love you, help you, mentor you, and push
Yeah.
you to get past it. Because the other thing is, think about if you weren't succeeding, when you look at an issue and it's like, I've done everything I could do, these are external factors, and you're upholding your level of integrity and dedication and education and commitment to your clients or your business. It's like things will happen that you don't see why they're happening. I always call them red flags for improvement. Analyze the deal, find out what you need to do better next time, or what you need to watch for in clients that maybe you need to refer out and not work with, and just move forward. You have to let go of things that you can't control. And some things you really can't control.
Yeah. Yeah. That is something that I think a lot of people get concerned about. And it's also being prepared for the uncontrollables as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people go into it thinking, oh, what's the worst that can happen? But if you don't actually prepare a little bit, then you could find yourself in a really bad situation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we're trying to work on internally to make sure that we are one step ahead if something bad was to happen. What's that saying? It's like hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
even in
that's really
that,
important.
with this deal, I had called my admin. I'm like, okay, we're sitting down. This deal is at the point, it's like, I need a timeline of from the first offer to where we stand today, the emails, the everything. Like, let's just document it out and work it out. We did that. I went through what's the worst case scenario. And then I went through how blessed I am just as a human, just as I'm healthy. I have my family, they're healthy. We have such a great life and I'm so blessed. I have so many amazing clients. I will have a deal like this and I'm just like, why am I doing this? And then I go to a closing with my clients and I've got them a cake of me like holding a sold sign in front of their
I saw
house.
that on
And
your Instagram. That's
yeah, and they're
hilarious.
they're so happy. They're so thankful. They're like, this was easy. This was fun. And I'm like, and it was their first time purchase and they just gotten engaged. And then the next day I had a gentleman, an elderly couple that cried on the phone because they have a lot of kind of health and issues and their home is not super sellable and they can't afford to move into their new house, which fits their lifestyle. And they were scared to list it because they can't make the move. And, they just kind of let loose. And we found exactly what they asked for. We got an investor client of ours that's been looking for something similar, cash deal, full price, plus 30 days post close to allow them the
Amazing.
money to move. And it wasn't a big deal for us. We weren't, I mean, it's not like, it's a very small deal. The feeling that gave me, like they just cried, they're like, you were the answer to our prayers. And like Josie, my admin, and I just looked at each other and we're like, oh my God. Like it's like you have to have highs and lows. And, I could be stressed and be like, okay, yeah, thanks, cool, whatever, and hang up and move on. But I took a moment. We took a moment and like, we also get to do this. Like
Yeah,
we,
it's rewarding.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I think that's really important. And it's a good way to wrap up the podcast, I think.
All right.
We're sharing our two messages and yeah, it'd be great to hear what you guys do as well to deal with your
How do you
stress?
pull yourselves out of the mud?
Yeah, are you thinking about your blessings? Are you talking to other people, or do you have some other way that we haven't heard of? Be
Some
great to hear.
outlets. I'd love to hear what some people do.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you on the next one. See
And
you
I will see
later.
you next week.
Oh yes, in America.
Peace.